We're on a mission from God.
And now for something completely different.
Let's get ready to rumble! Yeah, baby, yeah!
Good morning and a happy Saturday to everyone. I'm Pastor Matt Youngblood Clark from Ascension Lutheran Church in beautiful South St. Louis.
And I am Pastor Jolly John Lekumsky from St. Paul's Lutheran Church in New Athens, Illinois, and Trinity Lutheran Church in Darmstadt, Illinois, and we're pretty nice looking too.
Just switch it up.
I wouldn't say beautiful, but just pretty nice looking.
Oh, it's pretty. It's more than pretty nice looking on the beautiful banks of the Kaskaskia River.
Kaskaskia.
You can't beat it.
So, Matt, before we begin, I just had some thoughts, and I don't want. I hope I'm not biased in what I'm about to say.
Oh, of course
I'm
not.
trying to avoid any kind of personal bias. I just want to kind of give people the facts for them to contemplate.
Okay.
But did you notice that, again, avocados are being pulled off the shelves because of listeria infection, and they're making people sick. Did you see that?
I did see that. It's the organic ones, the one non-organic ones.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call them.
Well, it's just,
All avocados. I saw that.
So and then, of course, it wasn't that long ago that all the romaine lettuce, remember the romaine lettuce?
Oh, I remember that well.
Pulling it off the shelves because people were getting sick from the romaine lettuce. I just saw an article that kale, our beloved kale, is now on the top 10 list of contaminated foods.
Oh, no.
Right up there. And then it occurred to me, and I hope I'm not biased, and never have you ever seen bacon being pulled off the shelves? No one has put it on a list of contaminated food, right?
That's right.
You get my point?
Bacon is, yes, I get your point. Bacon is safe. Another thing I haven't seen on that list is Oreos. Oreos, I've never seen a contaminated Oreo.
And my wife, Lynn, says chocolate, which would go along with Oreos. Chocolate. You never see chocolate being, recalled because of any people getting sick over it.
I think you're onto something, John. So play it safe.
That's right.
Eat the bacon.
Yeah. And throw in a few Oreos and chocolate to boot. You got to have a little dessert. You got to have a balanced diet. We're not denying that.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
A balanced diet is a cookie in both hands. That's what I like to say.
There you go. All right. Just you draw your own conclusions, people. I'm just stating the facts of the matter. You draw your own conclusions. All right. Can
I plug something?
Sure, please do.
Since we're talking about chocolate, thanks to Lynn, and things along those lines, we have an Easter egg hunt coming up at Ascension. Cool. So that's taking place 1 week from today. Now, I'm not saying don't listen to Resident of the Basics. You can still do that.
And then come to the Easter
certainly or check us out on the website later, at a later date maybe, but on the KFUO website. But beginning at 9 a.m., stop by Ascension. Right. So we'll have candy and eggs filled with chocolates and all sorts of treats. This year we also have a cotton candy machine.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
And again,
cool.
No one ever recalled cotton candy.
I know. I think you're safe there, too.
I think so.
So anyway, it's a great time, and most importantly, it's one that certainly shares the reason for Easter, our Lord's resurrection from the dead. So that's what it's all about.
And what's the date
But we're going to
again?
have a little fun, too. That's 1 week from today. That is April the 6th, Saturday, April the 6th. Yeah.
Very good. Cool. Well, that's exciting. And can't we get the big speakers there? And you could be playing
Rest of the Basics. Oh, there's an idea.
All right. See if you can work that out.
They'll come in droves.
So excellent. So here's what I want to share with you. I found a Bible passage where Paul got it wrong. Is that okay?
What? So we're correcting the Apostle Paul for...
Well, it's not something I do very often, but I'm thinking, let me... You read the passage and I'll show you what I mean.
All right. What is going on here?
1 Corinthians, not 2 Corinthians.
Paul got it wrong.
1 Corinthians chapter 9. Yeah, well, I was reading it. I thought, well, that can't be right, Paul.
Okay.
So,
oh, boy, where are we going with this? Okay.
Yes, that's what I've been
Oh, my goodness. I hit the button on mistake. My elbow got it.
Well, that's bad. Personal. Doing the sound effects with his elbows. You should see it here, people.
That's pretty good.
He's
It's pretty
amazing.
impressive. I know. Some of these radio shows, talk radio, they have these webcams in the studio so you can
they
see
do?
the
Is that
people
right?
live in studio.
Oh,
We should probably not be one of those shows, John.
that's right. No one's offered that, have they? No one wants to do that.
Nope, KFU has not brought that up.
Man, we couldn't come in our pajamas.
I know, that's right. I know.
Get dressed up. So, all right.
That's not worth it. Okay.
1 Corinthians 9, verse 24, if you want to start
All
reading there.
right, here we go. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? Well, so far that seems right, John.
Well, but no, really? That seems right to you? Because that's the thing that brought me right there.
Well, they're all running, right? But only one receives the prize.
Only one receives the prize?
Well, if we're talking about literal runners in a race, yeah.
But no, see, that's the problem.
Are you talking about
Because
participation
do you
trophies,
think-
John?
Do you think that's what he's talking about? Is he giving us a little lecture on athletics here and on track meets? Do you think that's what he's doing?
I'm guessing that's probably not going to be the main point.
Well, so that's the thing. Is this not an analogy of the Christian life? Don't you think that's what he's getting at? We're all running a race, right?
Well,
Is that
sure,
what he's getting
sure.
at?
That's why you call him the Apostle Paul, not Paul the Coach.
Well, but no, in the Christian race, not one's going to win the prize, right? I'm hoping that I'm winning. I'm hoping you're winning. In fact, I hope everybody that's listening to us is going to win the prize. So I thought, well, that's not right. It's not one person wins the prize. Everybody wins the prize. And it's not a consolation prize either. Everybody gets the first prize and all the awards that come with it. So
You get a prize. You get a prize.
So
all right.
Okay.
All right.
What's his point then? That only one. So let me ask you, what do you think his point is? That one person gets the prize.
Well, I think that he is initially he's talking about when he's giving us this picture here of a race.
Yes.
And in a race there's one person who's going to win the prize, right? And then he's going to go on to talk about.
Thank God, one person. You and I might not win it.
Someone out there
at least the Jehovah's Witnesses give you 144,000 winning it.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's keep going here.
Well, no. I think we need to. Here's the problem. Part of the problem is
yes,
and you were kind of alluding to that.
Well, I don't think it's a perfect analogy that a race to you know Christian life and salvation, but it's a picture.
Well, it is the tertium of the comparison, right? That every analogy has one point that you're trying to make. So I've often said that you are an angel, and I do not mean by that you have wings or that you came down from heaven, but you're a very kind and caring person like an angel would be, right?
Well, thanks, John.
Yeah.
That's very kind.
So that's the point of comparison. That's what we're looking for. And you're arguing that it's not about one person. That's not the point of comparison. That just happens to be that way, but that's not. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so it's. Yeah, I didn't use that fancy. What was that word?
Point of comparison.
No, the other word. The
tertium.
See, the tertium.
The tertium.
That's
of the
impressive.
comparison. Yeah. There's actually a Latin word for comparison too, but I can't pronounce that. So all I can say is tertium, and you supply the Latin
I'm impressed
word
just
for
with that.
comparison.
So
okay.
Well done. Well, yeah. So it's not this perfect analogy, right? Not that every part corresponds to the Christian life, but certainly there are points to be made.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and didn't you learn that when you were in seminary that when you do a parable, each parable has one point to make. So you can't take every little detail and come up with
Sure. I think we get in trouble when we try to, every detail has some kind of spiritual higher meaning. Yeah, I think we can get in trouble then.
So here's the other problem, though. Part of our problem is the English is messing us up. Well, which generally for you and I, English messes
That's normally
us up.
the case.
Yeah, but in the text here, in this translation, English is messing us up. Because read it again.
All right. Do you not know that in a race, all the runners run?
Just stop there. Isn't that kind of redundant? Yeah, pretty much in a race, all the runners run. Right? What do they do in a race? Well, pretty much they're running.
You're there to run.
they're not playing hockey. They're not trying to shoot a puck in the goal. They're run. But see, when you read it in the Greek, it's not redundant like that, because what it literally says in the Greek, it says, "Do you not know that in a stadium, the runners run?" And I don't know why the English doesn't say stadium, because that's what it says in the Greek. And it dawned on me. Okay, so here's the analogy Paul is giving us. If you want to do the picture in your mind.
Okay. Yeah, we got a stadium.
You and I are in a stadium, and you and I, where are we going to be in the stadium, Matt?
We're probably going to be in the stands.
Yeah, we're going to be in the stands. We're eating our chocolate.
Snacking on bacon.
Yeah. Saying, yeah, we're number one. But we ain't doing nothing. We're just up there sitting in the stands watching the stuff that's going on. But Paul says it's the runners that are doing the running.
Yes.
And I think the analogy here is, as Christians, we're not up in the stands. We may wish we were, but we're not. We're on the field. We're running the race, and we better be running to the very best of our ability, because that's the job that God has given us as Christians. We're the runners. We're not the people that sit up in the stadium. Well, okay, now you can read a little more.
Yeah, Paul uses that analogy a lot. We're talking about that picture of running, and boy, I wonder if he was an athlete himself, and certainly the people he's writing to would have been familiar with stadium, right, and with running. But other places too, running the race again and again. He talks about that, and even boxing and all these other pictures too.
Which is interesting, because that analogy comes up at the end of this verse, the boxing analogy. So go ahead, read a little more.
Okay, here we go. So he says, "Run that you may obtain it." Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified.
So here's what I think Paul is saying, okay? So Paul is saying that he's arguing from the lesser to the greater. Have you ever heard that analogy? From the lesser to the greater. So here it is right here. The regular runners. Read verse the middle of verse 25 again, would you please?
Sure. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable.
All right. So we're arguing from the lesser to the greater. So the people that run the races, the Olympic athletes, what are they running it for? What are they looking to get?
They want the gold, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which is pretty exciting if you get a gold. But, I mean, what good does it do you, right? Can you go buy lunch with it? Can you go down to Arby's and say, here's my gold medal. Can I have a roast beef? Give me the meal deal. It ain't going to get you anything. On the other hand, what are we getting?
Something imperishable. Yeah. Something that lasts.
Yeah. So what is that? What do you think he's talking about? What's the imperishable thing that we get?
Well, the forgiveness of sin, salvation, life.
Good.
Yeah.
And that's right. It's an imperishable. It's eternal. It's always there. Never will lose it. It's ours forever. Mansions in heaven. Whatever word you want to use. I think he's doing the same thing then with this whole winning the race. So again, in an earthly race, you got the perishable. We got the imperishable. In an earthly race, only one person wins the prize.
Yep.
But what about in the race you and I are running as Christians?
Yeah, in faith, we all get the prize.
Yeah, we want a whole bunch of people to win the prize. That's what we're looking for. And then I realized that Paul's made another mistake. Okay, well, we were wrong about the first mistake. We just didn't understand the analogy. But because now you just told me he's talking about this running stuff all the time, right?
Yeah.
And aren't you getting the impression here that, boy, if you want to win this prize, you better run. You better run really hard. You better discipline yourself. You better be like a really good athlete here, really working at things. But I would have swore Paul told us that the prize is a gift, that we don't have to run.
But that sounds familiar too.
Didn't he say something about that? It's not your works. I think he even said that. Not your works. Yeah. But as a gift.
Well, Ephesians 2, I'm thinking of, pretty clear, right?
Yeah. So now figure that one out for me. So what is it? Is it like we got to run really hard if we want to get the prize? Or is it that, no, it's just going to be a gift given to us no matter how hard we work? It's not a matter of our athletic endeavor. It's not about us disciplining the body or boxing or whatever else, he says.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. And again, it's an analogy. So, it's not, not this, it's not that this imperishable prize is won purely by our own running or by our own practicing and training and those sorts of things. No. But yeah, in the running of the race, though, yeah, we do run it in a certain way, right? We live the Christian life in a certain way, and there is discipline, and there is, as he says, disciplining my body and keeping it under control. Yeah, there is self-control. He also writes about these fruit of the Spirit, and as I was reading through this, self-control is one of those fruit.
Yeah, that's in
so
there.
As you live that Christian life, then as one for whom the race has already been won. Yeah, we live it in a certain way.
As I was reading this, I realized, again, I see where I made my mistake, because we probably should have read the context of this. That helps sometimes.
That does.
Sure, I mean, if you read the Bible and something makes sense,
helps.
maybe read what says before or after. Because I think I probably should have had you start reading at verse 22. So go back and read verse 22.
Yeah, so Paul's talking about his own ministry here, and he says, "To the weak I became weak, that I might win the weak. I've become all things to all people, that by all means I might save some. I do it all for the sake of the gospel, that I may share with them in its blessings."
So in verse 22, Paul says, why is he doing what he's doing? Because he wants to do what? What's he hoping to accomplish?
Yeah. So that by all means I might save some.
All right, so save some.
Yeah.
And then in verse 21, so everything he's doing that he might hopefully accomplish what?
Verse 21, that I might win those who are outside the law.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to give you the right verse. Verse 20. I got to get the large print Bible. I'm sorry.
All right.
I need to acknowledge it. When you get old, you don't admit that you're getting old, but I probably need the large print Bible.
The one that you need a little cart to carry around because it's so big.
Right.
Yep,
well, at least where the verse numbers are a little bit larger. 23 was that actually right. Although 23. What you said works too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do it all for the sake of the gospel, that I may share with them in its blessings.
That I may share with them with its blessings, that I might save some. And I think that's the prize he's talking about. So it's not talking about your individual salvation or my individual salvation, but this desire of us as Christians. And I think you're right. That's why we run the race the way we do. It's not that it's going to get us saved, but we want to run the race the way we do because we're hoping to save some around us. We're hoping to share the blessings we have with the people that are around us. See, we've been doing the epistles for quite some time, and we get these constant exhortations to love. And it dawned on me, you're not loving the neighbor so people say, "Oh, isn't he an angel?"
Like me.
Like you. No, we're loving people so they can see the love of God through us, and they can say, "Wow," and we can say, "Well, no, we're actually pretty much stinky people. We're selfish, like." But yeah, here's this Lord that loves and cares, that we would share, as he says, we share with them the blessings. That's why. But then here's the other thought I had, and now all of a sudden the text starts to make sense. Read if you would again this verse about verse 25.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Verse 25. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things.
All right. Then read verse 26.
Okay. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air.
And 27 too.
But I discipline my body and keep it under control.
So he's got all these analogies about how hard it is to be a athlete. All the work you've got to involve in doing this. In fact, did you know what the Greek word athlete is?
It's not bacon.
No, it's not bacon. It's close, though. Has some of the letters that are in bacon. Agonized.
Oh.
And have you ever, not honestly, I never was, I played tennis a little bit, but I played tennis because it didn't involve a lot of agony, The tennis coach didn't say, "Come on out here, you're going to have to do 120 laps before we start playing." Did you do any kind of agony?
Yeah, we ran track, yeah.
Okay, well, what's involved in running track?
Well, yeah, there's a little bit of agony, especially if you're training for long distance, that's for sure. But yeah, I could see the agony. Sure, it comes with no pain, no gain type idea, right?
That's it exactly. No, my grandson wanted to play football in high school. Do you know what they make football players do? 6 o'clock in the morning, you go to the stadium, but you don't go to have fun and throw the ball around and catch it. You go to run around the track, even though you're not a track person. You do weightlifting, you do calisthenics, and then you go home for lunch and you come back and do it again.
That's agony.
During the summer when you're supposed to be on vacation. So I think the point Paul is making here, again, we're not running the race to get our salvation, but we are running the race because we want to share this with other people. We're not sitting in the stands. No, we're out here running the race so we can share this so we might save some, he says. And the thing is, it's going to be incredibly hard. It's really, it's not hard to be nice. But to love people the way God loves us, that is incredibly hard. That involves a great deal of sacrifice. And so I'm just thinking we need to understand that. We need to understand that. And then comes the part I think that is really touching. Now read that last verse again, verse 27.
Let's see. Lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified.
And, it's interesting because I was thinking, how could Paul be disqualified, right? I mean, you want to talk about sacrificial love.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he was, he was a shipwrecked and he was beaten.
All those things,
and imprisoned, and he did this all for the love of people. He didn't have to do that. Writes 2/3 of the New Testament, travels all the way to Rome as a prisoner so that the people in Rome can be saved, some of them. But then it dawned on me, see, Paul understands something we all have to understand. We need to run the race. We need to run it as good as we can for the sake of others, that we might share the blessings with them. But the problem is we can't run the race perfectly, Matt, can we? We stumble, we fall, we fail in our love. We don't do what we should do all the time in terms of the race. And that's when it dawned on me, Paul's right. There really is only one person that wins the prize, is there? There's only one who ran the race with the agony that none of us have experienced, only one who suffered and died, only one who rose again. He's the only one that really wins the prize. We don't. However, what's really neat about Jesus is he's just like Paul. Or perhaps maybe Paul's more like Jesus. He just wants to share the blessings with us, right? He won the prize, but he wants to share the blessings with us. So I just thought, well, that's okay. All right. It makes sense now, Paul. It makes sense. Yeah, one wins the prize. Jesus wins the prize. And he wants to share that prize with us, those blessings. And that's where we're running the race, too. Yeah. We're not running to win the prize. We already got the prize.
It's been won. It's been given. Yep.
We're running because we want other people to share in that blessing with us. Now, can I share with you one more comforting thing in the text?
Sure.
Go back to that verse we had, verse in 22. Yeah.
Okay. To the weak I became weak that I might win the weak. I've become all things to all people that by all means I might save some.
Save what?
Some.
So I know right now, there are people that you love and you care for, but you don't seem like you're getting anywhere with them. Okay? Yep. And maybe they don't even want your love. Maybe they've even said that. Just leave me alone. Okay? I know there are people out there right now, because I know I have people that I love that aren't with us. They're not coming to worship. They're not receiving the blessings. Sure. And that really troubles me. And I'm trying to do my best to love and care for them every opportunity I have. But it doesn't seem like it's making a whole lot of difference. And so I think there's comfort in that. I think Paul is reminding us we're not going to save everybody. Matt and I, we try to do our best in the show to bring people God's love and forgiveness. But no, not everybody. We won't reach everybody. We're just glad for the people that this word does contact. But on the other hand, my advice would be, if you've got somebody like that, just keep loving them and just keep praying for them, okay? Because ultimately, nobody's salvation is dependent upon anything we do. It certainly, thank God, is not dependent upon wrestling with the basics.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be scary? But it is dependent upon God, and God will do what he needs to do. God will bring salvation. Because as we said, he wants to do that.
Yes.
Just understand that he wants to share this. There's nobody he's saying that he's crossed off the list. He wants to share it with all of them, that they might have the blessings. So anyway, that was my thoughts about that text. So maybe Paul wasn't wrong after all.
So keep it in our Bibles. Paul's not wrong. But no, great insight. Great insight. As we run that race with our neighbor for the sake of our neighbor.
Yeah.
Very good.
And next week, Moses? You wanted to talk about Moses?
We're gonna
really hung up on Moses. No, it was I that was talking about Moses. Or we're talking about Moses'
death, but we're going to talk about him a little before that. So
okay.
And be sure to join us. A little more Moses talk with a purpose. So next week, join us for Wrestling with the Basics.